The Japanese educational TV series Curriculamachine introduces you to a lot of new words, but it doesn't show you how they're written. It also doesn't provide any English translation whatsoever. So if you're a beginner in Japanese, it's quite a lot of hard work to understand what's going on or what you're supposed to be learning. So here I'm going to gloss one scene, and I can provide a link to it. You can watch this on DVD, on YouTube, and other online services, I'm sure. Kazaguruma. Kazaguruma. Kataguruma. Kataguruma. Kamishibai. Kamishibai. Kangoku. Kangoku. Kanshu. Kanshu. Kagi. Kagi. So in the TV series, we learn this vocabulary in a slightly surreal setting. There's a little girl sitting on the shoulders of a giant monkey or ape, and then as the camera moves back, we see that they're awaiting a type of theatrical performance, and the camera moves back further to reveal that they're actually waiting inside a prison cell. The prison guard arrives carrying his keys, but it turns out he's not a prison guard at all. He starts the theatrical performance. The first two items of vocabulary both end with a symbol that is level 1 vocabulary, meaning car, as kuruma. But in this context, for both words, it's pronounced with a G instead of a K as guruma. So we get a combination of shoulder plus car for piggyback ride, wind plus car, which can either mean a pinwheel, the child's toy, or it can mean an actual windmill. So in learning the term for shoulder ride, we learn the useful noun for shoulder. Like many of the words in Chinese and Japanese that are used for parts of the human body, this contains the meat radical, although the meat radical has here been simplified to resemble the Chinese symbol meaning the moon. I already made a separate YouTube video that discusses the various strange ways that the symbol meaning meat appears in the Chinese written language. In this case, we're supposed to assume that the door radical, which forms the other half of the character, is mimicking the shape of a human shoulder. Kamishibai is an untranslatable form of traditional Japanese theater. Obviously, the idea is here expressed with two simple words that are both useful vocabulary. Paper plus theater means this particular type of theater. And the symbol meaning paper, if you haven't learned it already, combines the silk radical with an ancient symbol that means clan or family, and is still used to mean family name in modern Japanese. The two Chinese characters that are used in Japanese to mean prison are examples of why it can be so confusing, surreal, and perhaps frustrating to study the etymology of these characters. The top half of the first character means a government bureaucrat, an overseer, what have you. Ultimately, the symbol in the top left corner is derived from a pictograph of a human eye. The bottom symbol has been corrupted, but that was originally the blood radical, often used in religious contexts to suggest an animal sacrifice and that sort of thing. In this case, being connected to prisons, punishments, and perhaps government executions, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out why government, bureaucrat, and blood were the two main images here. This is also an example of a character that's actually written somewhat differently in Chinese and modern Japanese. The second half is just as bizarre, well, I guess more so. We have two different versions of the dog radical, to the left and right of the language radical in the middle. This has been somewhat colorfully interpreted as suggesting negotiations between rival tribes, a lot of other theories about it. But one way or another, dog language dog is a symbol that's used in modern Japanese only in connection with prisons. In Chinese, it has some other meanings. So if you want to learn to read, write, and remember the English meanings for the words that come up in Curriculamachine, it's a lot of work. I may try to make some more videos like this, taking a glance at the etymology and meanings of some of the words that come up in scenes in the series, if I keep on using it for my own study of the Japanese language.